Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk again about the twice exceptional experience. And I was doing some sort of onion in a way with my video. So I started with mental hyperactivity and complexity, or over-excitability you could say, which is sort of the first layer. And then I talked about this sensitivity and emotional intensity, which is another layer. And then this last layer, which I believe is a bit more observable by people around you, is this, you could say, like sensory sensitivity, and how you can need a lot of time alone, a lot of quiet, a lot of contemplation, like on the weekends, on the evenings, that people don't really understand why you need so much downtime and why you can be so tired doing the same thing other people do in a normal way. And so for that already there's this layer that since your brain is overactive, your brain desires complexity and thought and a lot of analysis, but also you have this nervous system that is more sensitive, which I explained in the other video on sensitivity and emotional intensity. So already every experience is processed more deeply, and you thus need more downtime to do that processing, and it's like your entire being forces you to ask questions about that event because you've seen so many things. But what I've noticed from this sensitivity, let's say like being sensitive to light or sound, or like I've never really went clubbing in my life. I've never been a girl of the night. I'm not into bars. I never drink. I've never been a high sensation seeker. But I remember that, like in my youth and in high school, for example, it wasn't really an issue for me, any of this. I didn't feel like I was complex and tired and constantly analyzing. And so I've been really pondering that, like, why is it that it's in adulthood that I've been feeling that? And to me, what that shows is that, yes, of course, there's a naivete when you're young. You don't know as much. You might have the ability to be lucid, but you still haven't experienced much. And so when adulthood happens, your mind is so open and you're so porous to everything going on around you that, yes, you're learning a lot, like lots of information coming in, and you're questioning and you're analyzing and you're wondering what the truth is, and you're critiquing and you're pondering a lot. And that can thus explain, you could say, like the change, right? Like, how can a person like go out all the time, have all these friends, everything's fine, and then in adulthood, like they need all this downtime? And is this person faking it? And it's not that. It's more that the complexity gets much bigger when you're an adult, and you also have much more responsibility, and that can sometimes be a challenge for twice exceptional individuals, gifted individuals, ADHD, or any other neurodivergent individuals. So in itself, since complexity already just worsens when you're an adult, it is very much so an added challenge for anyone who's, like I said, the same sort of profile. But there's something else that I sort of want to explore here, which is that having this lucidity and this sensitivity to others, at least in my experience. Now, I don't know how much of this is me and my psyche versus truly the 2E experience, but I've read this enough that I believe 2E people go through this. And it's that you will sort of morph yourself to what you believe you should be, what you believe other people want from you. There's this experience I have where when I'm social, it's like I completely lose myself. I forget the I even exists. I'm so porous, and I'm so looking at someone else and what they're going through and what the mood of the room is and how everyone's doing and what are their expectations, what are they wanting, how are they feeling right now. And adjusting to that, it happens like automatically. I think that you're so lucid as to what other people want and desire that you end up losing yourself in the process. And this constant adjustment to others from this lucidity and this sensitivity can be incredibly tiring already, because there's this level of you're analyzing, right? You've been learning, blah, 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 like this mental complexity. Then this layer of, ooh, okay, they all feel this way. This person feels like that, and I'm feeling it too. And I have a lot of empathy. So how can I sort of morph that into a more comfortable experience or whatever? And so all of these layers are there. And then on top of that is well, with this information, I have to do something. And I know how to do something with it. I know how to now, I guess, present myself in a way that's going to be more pleasing for them, how to not say the things that are not going to be pleasing. There's this over adjustment. Now, for sure, I'm hearing myself talk right now, and I think it could be most geared toward being a twice exceptional ADHD women. This is very feminine, what I'm saying. Like, I'm aware that women have this, because of hormones, honestly, just because of estrogen. I'm sorry if you don't agree, but I agree. Because of hormones and estrogen, we're more socially wired. We're more wired to truly feel the need of others. And that's what makes us such great moms, able to nurture a baby. It's because like we have that natural attunement to others. So perhaps what I'm saying is a bit more towards like 2E women, but I do feel like some men who have this sensitivity can definitely experience that, but perhaps with less consciousness, with less awareness of what's going on, you know, because they weren't really geared or trained to do it that way. But what happens is that pretty much anything you do with this porous, high awakened consciousness where you're like gathering everything and feeling everything and wondering and all of that is incredibly tiring if you don't learn to come back to yourself in a way. If you don't learn yourself to lower that sensitivity, you know, like for example, I'm thinking of individuals who have autism. The sensitivity here is much more, you could say, like a core experience that they can't really change. They'll have to adapt the environment, because that sensitivity will just always be there and can trigger like meltdowns and true difficulties, you know. So I'm thinking that, oh, I just saw a notification and that distracted me. I'm thinking that with, at least with my profile, what I'm learning to see is that also when I was younger, I was much less concerned with, well, much less aware. So I didn't have that information, and so I wasn't always trying to morph myself to fit with what was right or good. There's also this, and it's another layer. I like knowledge a lot, so I keep learning all the time about anything that is pertinent. How to be a good person, how to have healthy relationships, how to be healthy as an individual just in general, like mentally, physically, financially. Like the amount of information I have and knowledge I've amassed throughout the years is insane. But then I want to apply that at all times. There's like a level of perfectionism where it's like, you know, when you're aware of something, you can't pretend you're not aware of it. You can't go back to not knowing. And it just puts all this pressure on you to constantly sort of align with what you know. And it's difficult to do that as a human being with like our flaws and our vulnerabilities and our quirks and our impulses, right? All of that, our desires and needs. It's just hard to sort of be the perfect example or model of what should be. This ideal like image you've created based on everything you've read and everything you've experienced of how a person should be. It's so difficult to attain that at all times. And I also think that that is at the root of the fatigue and the exhaustion and the, okay, I have this one event this weekend, but I can't do anything else, right? Because during that event, you ask so much of yourself, and you ask so much of yourself anyway in daily life. You just end up exhausted. So I really think that I was going to talk about this sensory sensitivity that I have, like with sound and things like that, but it is so new that I thought this makes no sense. I didn't experience that when I was 17. Like, why am I experiencing that now older? It makes no sense. And I think that is why I've sort of, I'm understanding myself a bit clearer. So what is the lesson in this? Well, I have, and you have if you experience this, I have to close my boundaries a little bit, like to lower the amount of pressure I put on myself to sort of follow everything I know and everything I'm aware of. And I don't really know how to do that. Like sometimes it's just reconnecting to my body in the moment and saying, okay, am I thirsty now? Okay, do I find this actually boring? Okay, am I maybe not the best person and I don't want to listen to this? And I want to go and get like this muffin that's over there because it looks good. I don't know what I'm saying. This is really bizarre, but it's like just reconnecting outside of your home where, yes, you have outside influences, closing off your awareness, closing off your consciousness, bring it back to you and how you feel and what you need in the present moment, instead of trying to be like this perfect. And it's not even perfection, right? You get what I'm saying? It's like always being conscious and aware and lucid and acting according to everything you know and the wisdom you've cultivated is like, it's too much for one person. We're still humans with selfishness, with immaturity sometimes, and it's not even that bad. Do you see where I'm going with this? There is a need to sort of go back to something a bit less aware, to something a bit less. It's like, it's almost like some sort of addiction. There's, with the gifted 2E brain, there's like an addiction to learning, understanding, asking questions, an addiction to analyzing this person and this, and an addiction to, oh, I'm feeling this from this person, I have empathy, I'm going to morph for them, and just letting all of that go and coming back to yourself and your experience in the now instead of everything you know and everything you've learned. Now, I'm not really sure how I'm going to apply this in my life, but it is something that I'm just starting to understand, and I will talk about this again once it feels a bit, the solution feels a bit more clear and fleshed out. But at least for now, we have the issue and the why, which I find very interesting. And so, yeah, I'll keep digging. And if you have if you've gone through this and you've done, like, you have a perspective, a philosophy, or little habits or things you do to come back to a place where you're not constantly tired because you're managing your energy and your consciousness well, I'd love to know. That would be very interesting. But for now, yes, I will continue thinking about that. And yeah, in the next few weeks, I will post videos on young, right, union types, which I adore, probably a bit of wisdom, probably some astrology, archetypes, but I'll keep on talking about this because I think it's a very interesting subject. I was thinking of talking about all the different over-excitabilities in my next 2E neurodivergent video. So I'll stop here. I keep rambling on, but thank you very much for watching, and I wish you a lot of peace and joy. All right, see you soon. Bye.